Hey guys, J-Man here. It is time for Payback. No, not the Mel Gibson movie. Payback, the wrestling event. So we're going to be covering that today, but also the stuff leading up to Payback. So this is replacing our weekly Women of Pro Wrestling stream, which I actually heard that someone nominated that stream for an award for the comic book awards, which take place on YouTube. I'll put some links up for where you can vote on that. But I mean, we didn't get that was before, so we didn't win, obviously. But so I appreciate that. That was Chris, the comic vet, who nominated us. So thank you. So I'm just showcasing my Polar Boy Legion of substitute heroes glass. I came up with a concoction for this. I buy the carbonated water, and then I use the squirting things to make them different flavors. Genius. So this is like grape crush because I just squirted a bunch of grape in it. So I thought that was pretty ingenious. Anyway, let's do a few updates here before we get going. So if you're catching this later on, please remember that every Friday is Fourth World Friday. That is where me, Sean, and Clobberin Times discuss every issue of Jack Kirby's Fourth World and only Jack Kirby's Fourth World. Once we are completed that, Fridays will be something else. But for the next few months, it's going to be the Fourth World. Also, remember that tomorrow is the Legion of Superheroes live stream every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, same as the Fourth World. This one's going to be pretty kooky. We're covering Superboy and a couple of adventure comics. The Superboy story is pretty goofy. I'm just reading the adventure comics, which I believe might be the first appearance of Timberwolf, which is pretty exciting since Timberwolf is pretty awesome. And then it looks like Superboy and Mon-El are having an argument in the third comic we're going to be covering tomorrow. So that's going to be exciting. That's 7 p.m. Eastern. And this Thursday, the return of Transformer Thursdays. Do you see how I've made that all work out? Transformer Thursdays, Fourth World Fridays. It didn't work for Legion Mondays, so what are you going to do? We are going to be doing The Headmasters, the 4-issue miniseries Transformers The Headmasters. I just read the first 2 issues, and they're bloody awesome. So we're skipping ahead. It's only 4 issues. We're just going to cover it all in one stream. There's no need to separate those out. Then we will go back to doing the comics, and we are going to be doing the G1 cartoon as well. We have had so many people request us doing the cartoon, but we're not going to stop with that. Once we complete all of the first 3 seasons and then the Rebirth 3-episode conclusion, we're going to do the Headmasters Japanese cartoon, which I started to watch, and it's pretty damn awesome. So there you go. Fourth World Fridays every Friday, Legion live stream every Monday, and Transformer Thursday. So that's the lineup coming up for the next week. Okay, it's going to be pretty busy. And so pretty exciting. All right. Well, now that we've taken care of that business, let's bring in, we haven't seen him in a while, so let's bring in our co-host here. Hello. All right. So we're doing Payback here. And hey, Joe, what's going on, man?
Yo!
Yes, I did think it was better than I expected it to be. Actually, I really did think it was better.
Better.
Yeah. Let's get the big stuff. Well, let's get the big things out of the way. Bray Wyatt passed away, and I feel really bad about this one. Yeah. Well, let's put a pin in that one for a second. Let's talk about Terry Funk.
Okay.
I mean, Terry Funk, that guy's a hyper legend. He's considered, if you say like, oh, who's my top whatever guys of all time, if someone puts Terry Funk in their top 5 or whatever, there's not anyone that's going to say, well, I don't agree.
Yeah, pretty much. Terry Funk was a legend from the Double Cross Ranch in Amarillo, Texas. He came from, a lot of people talk about the Flair family and Rhodes family, but the Funk family was in wrestling quite a bit. You know, Dory Funk Sr. and then his son Dory Funk Jr. and Terry, and I remember Jimmy Jack Funk. Terry Funk, his career lasted 5 decades. I learned a lot about Terry Funk actually reading Mick Foley's first book, because he did have some matches with Terry Funk, and he idolized Terry Funk. He wanted to be. He basically made his career after Terry Funk. Terry Funk was totally committed to the business. He is the guy who, best story I heard about Terry Funk is so they were going to have a series of death matches in Japan, and there's of course barbed wire and tacks and
it's all this crazy shit.
And then they were going to do C4, and so they brought them all out, all the wrestlers, and they showed them, and they set off to C4 to show them what it would be like. And Mick Foley and I think one of the pit bulls immediately was like, fuck this sort of thing, right? Like, there's no way. And Terry Funk's looking at it, he's like, we need more.
Make it better.
And Mick Foley's like, he thought he was joking. He's like, no, he wasn't joking. Terry Funk's literally like, we need more C4. Terry Funk was, I think, legitimately crazy. But he was eminently entertaining, and he was, the stuff that he did, like, going after, who was it, Bullet Bob Armstrong. I remember he was like doing this famous promo where he's like, Bob Armstrong is a son of a bitch. He's like, oh, no, I can't say that because Bob Armstrong has no, pride. He's like, okay, Bob Armstrong's wife sucks or something. He's like, no, he doesn't care about his wife. Bob Armstrong's children suck. He's like, Bob Armstrong doesn't care about his children. He's like, okay, I got it. Bob Armstrong's mistress is a whore. Finally, he figured it out, like what insult would actually
would actually work on the guy.
Like he was a genius, but he understood how to entertain, and he obviously was, the original probably hardcore legend. Yeah, when he feuded with Flair back in '89. He wrestled everyone. I don't think there's a person who Terry Funk in the world didn't wrestle. He broke into movies. His popularity was such a thing. He broke into movies. And he was in something it was a big movie. I think I don't know. It's one of those movies.
Roadhouse is what I think. I'm trying to remember where I first saw him. Was it Roadhouse? Maybe.
Yeah, Roadhouse is where I remember him more, but he was in something else.
Look.
Yeah, if you look it up, it should be.
While I'm looking this up for people watching this later on, there is a link in the chat, so you should see the chat if you're watching this later, for Professor Bill, who's been a frequent co-host on my channel. Professor Bill from Comic Book University. Please subscribe to him if you haven't subscribed. The link to his channel is in my description of all my videos. But he's a friend of the channel, and he's a massive Dungeons and Dragons fan. And he wrote a book for Kickstarter, which is 300 different kinds of puzzles you can use in your campaigns for Dungeons and Dragons. So check that out. It's real cheap. 300 puzzles. You can't go wrong. I think the digital copy is like 10 or 15 bucks. So you can't go wrong with that. If you need puzzles, whatever. I backed it because I always do campaigns, and I always might like to have, some puzzles at hand if I can't come up with a riddle or something. All right, let's take a look at Terry Funk really quickly here. We'll just take a quick look at his kind of like filmography. We're not going to go through the whole thing. I'm not going to share the screen. I'll just look at it. Filmography. So it's not that much. Paradise Alley. Over the Top. Yes, that's
Over the Top. He was a bouncer or bodyguard or something. And then
Roadhouse.
Yeah.
He was in something else, Bearded Cowboy, but that's just random. Beyond the Mat, of course, yes.
Yeah.
Friday Night Lights, yeah. So he was uncredited. Okay. The big ones were Roadhouse and Over the Top, where I remember. Yeah. TV, he was in Briscoe County Jr. Yeah. Beyond Belief. Oh my God, that's hilarious. I used to watch Beyond Belief. So there you go. Pretty good. What was Joe saying here? Never saw Funk in the Movies, Stallone.
Quantum Leap.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah, Quantum Leap. So, and then Bray Wyatt, and I feel bad now because we kind of beat up Bray Wyatt and said, "Oh, he's not that great," and then he passed away. I'm like, great.
I was thinking about this the other day. It is a shame, J-Man, you never got to see Bray Wyatt when his stuff was really good. Like the Wyatt family was a genius idea. It was, Waylon Mercy. He was riffing off the Waylon Mercy character. Also, Max Cady from Cape Fear. I really loved the idea. It was such a genius idea of a psychopath who had a family and they were all like, attacking people. And Wyatt's promos were genius because he made absolutely no sense. It was borderline Ultimate Warrior without the enthusiasm.
Energy.
Yeah. It was just him talking craziness, and then it's like follow the buzzards and stuff like that. I actually thought like him losing as much as he did when he was in that persona was a mistake from WWE, because you really needed to make him he was as close to a horror character I think you could get. Not being supernatural per se, but just being a psychopath. I thought it was genius. And then the Bray Wyatt character with The Fiend. I wasn't a huge fan of The Fiend as a supernatural. We've talked about this. I don't like supernatural characters. After The Undertaker, I was pretty much done with that entire thing. But Bray Wyatt having the multiple personalities and doing this very creepy Mr. Rogers Firefly Funhouse where he's sort of like very entertaining, but there's something very wrong with him. Like he had all his previous opponents' portraits on the wall and he like gouged out all their eyes.
Yeah, that's kind of neat.
Genius. Again, have him as a horror movie-esque character, not necessarily supernatural, but someone who is unhinged. You don't know what he's going to do. It brought a different layer beyond the, hey, I'm in a faction, I'm going after a championship thing. And that was genius. I actually really enjoyed the Firefly Funhouse with Bray Wyatt. The Fiend was cool. His look was cool. I enjoyed his music. I didn't like the red lighting during his matches just because it was hard to see. Him coming back, I thought had potential. It just never led anywhere. He had one match, and then that was it. And he's gone at the age of 36. Way too early.
Crazy.
Apparently how it happened from what I heard is he had a device called an external defibrillator, which is supposed to stop you from going into cardiac arrest.
Okay.
So if this device feels you going into cardiac arrest, it stops you. Well, for some reason he wasn't wearing it the day he passed away. He went for a nap. His wife or his fiance heard his alarm going off, didn't see it, came in, and he was turning blue. And they could not resuscitate him. So if he was wearing that device, it is possible I don't know how it works, but it's possible he would still be with us if it.
Wow.
So
that's a fail.
Yeah. It's very sad. We're talking about a guy who not rejuvenated the entire company. I don't want to go that far, but really was one of the most interesting performers. As a performer, he was exceptionally mobile and, could pull off moves that were awesome. I loved his Sister Abigail finisher. Bray Wyatt was just a special talent. It is a shame you didn't get to see him when he was at his best. Yes, Ramblin' Rabbit was the South Park Kenny of the Fire. Yeah. It was just smart, man. It was just, he was just really a smart guy. And I think he, coming from a wrestling family, his dad is Mike Rotunda, who was U.S. Express. His uncle was Barry Windham, obviously because that's who he's named after. He had the chops, and he understood the business, and he understood how to be a performer. So him leaving the WWE and then his imminent passing is just tragic. It's really
crazy.
That was a gut punch. That was oh my God.
And I mean, I don't know how old Terry Funk was, but we knew that
79. He was 70.
Yeah, like these wrestlers, like, well, for Terry Funk, for all of the stuff that he's been through, 79 is pretty amazing.
Yeah. Considering what he put himself through. Yeah.
That is pretty amazing. Okay. So the way this is going to work, this is the first time we're doing it in this new sort of format for the stream. I wrote some notes on just very minor things, which I'll just read through and then we can address them. This is just leading up to Payback. So what's gone on since we last spoke from SummerSlam? Not every single thing that's, just sort of like quick point form. We had Rey Mysterio becoming the champion over Austin Theory. Jey Uso left. Piper Niven joined up with Chelsea Green to become the tag champions. Lacey Evans, or Macy Estrella, is now gone. She's on a fan time. She's got a fan time thing. So if you want to, I don't know if she's naked on there or not. If you want to see her, there you go. Edge, I guess he's now done. I don't know. Chad defeated Gunther. He didn't get the title, but it was a count out, but that still counts as a win. So this is the first loss for Gunther. We had Gigi and Tiffany were talking, and then there's setting up for Kiana. We had Blair Davenport fight and what's her face, Roxanne Perez. We have JC Jane, who's sort of the bad girl with Thea, which I think is absolutely hilarious and awesome. That entire last week NXT's Chase University thing where she was late was super funny. Yeah. And they zoomed up to JC Jane, like she's like, "Yeah, I'm the bad girl." I'm like, this is like, oh, it's like she's skipping class and all that. Yeah. I love it. We had, of course, Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt passing away, and Kiana became the number one contender. Those were sort of that was the highlighted points of kind of things to keep in mind.
Yeah. So just going in order. So the first thing you mentioned was
Rey Mysterio.
I did not like this. Putting the title on Rey Mysterio doesn't help the U.S. Championship. It does not really. Rey Mysterio doesn't need a championship at this point in his career. I would have liked to see Austin Theory just defend it more. So I did not like this move one bit. Yeah.
I love Saved by the Bell.
Yeah. Oh, LA Knight.
Put that up for you. You didn't see the LA part
on your list. So yeah.
And we'll talk about that for the match. Well, Jay left, so we can talk about that during the thing. So, Lacey's gone. I mean, that's very easy. They weren't using her. They revamped her 100 million times. Repackage. It's like she's been repackaged more times than like a Marvel Legends figure that's been poached for the accessories.
Yeah,
it's just like okay, thank you. Like, so she's gone. She opened up a coffee shop. I follow her on her socials. She opened up a coffee shop. She's on not OnlyFans. I think it's called not FaceTime. What's it called? Fan Time. So Fan Time. I don't know what that means. I'm not paying money for these retarded things, to be honest with you. I'm not paying for this garbage. I feel almost kind of like, why are you doing this if you have a coffee? But I guess they need extra money. I think these things die out. I think like Mandy Rose went on one of those for OnlyFans, and I think it probably was pretty popular, and then it's just like no one cares anymore, right? Like I'm not saying you shouldn't support this or you should support it. If people want to support it, that's totally fine. It's your money. It's your private life. You do whatever you want. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm never going to do any of these things. It's like I have zero interest in this kind of crap. If you want to do what you want to do, you can do whatever you want. Like I don't even want to pay for Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And I've got to review that shit for the streams.
Yeah, I get her dissatisfaction wanting to go in a different direction. The coffee shop thing is fine. Everyone drinks coffee. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people drink coffee. Mm-hmm. So that's cool. As far as going on this other thing, I don't know what it is, but you get your popularity from something else. To me, going on these things. So Mandy Rose, if her popularity has petered out, because she's not wrestling anymore.
Right.
Like that's the whole thing.
Yeah, like she's not posting as much now on her Instagram, and I still, I'm not sure if I still follow her on Instagram. I might not, but I think I do, but I'm not sure. But I haven't missed anything. And the problem is, like, everyone's moved on. Tiffany Stratton is now the champ. She's awesome. I was there for her. I wasn't there for Mandy Rose's, reign and startup. I wasn't there for Tiffany's startup, but this is a restarting for her, really. Like,
yeah,
this is her like starting again. We'll talk about her and Becky in the pay-per-view. Piper Niven joining with Chelsea was hilarious.
Funniest thing ever. Just, I'm your partner now. Well, I'm just going to have an audition. It's like, no, I'm your partner. That's it.
Yeah, no, that's it. So that was funny. Edge, is he done?
So from what I heard, his contract's up. Everyone thought he would jump to AEW.
Yes, but he has not.
That has not happened. I think Edge is honestly trying to contemplate his next move. He is
he done, or is he?
I don't think he's ever done. I think if he had his chance to be done 9 years ago when he retired, he had a chance to walk away. He is going to be in stuff. I think he's in a TV show. He's got other stuff on the go, but I think you'll see him in a WWE ring again, probably on a pay per, not a contract, standard contract. Probably on a limited appearance thing, sort of like what you got with Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns.
I forgot about that person. We'll talk about, Chad is coming up, so he wasn't on the pay-per-view. Chad Gable. Alpha Academy has really leveled. Over. Yeah, he's over. I can't believe it. I love it. I think that's great.
Finally, this guy's busted his ass for 10 years. I'm glad that they're finally using him. I'm glad that he's over. I think adding Maxine Dupree was the missing component to that team. I think she makes everything better. Just like Turbo Kid is a great movie, and then you add Apple, and it's a surreal movie. Like I mentioned that because I watched it again last night, and as soon as Apple walks in, I'm like, she's
the best.
This movie
is terrific. My weapon.
This is my gnome stick. I'm like. Just her enthusiasm when she's in there and Zeus is giving his big speech and she's cheering for him, you cannot help but fall in love with that.
She's the best. She's Canadian and she's on another show. Maxine Dupree can be in Eternals, and I'll give it 10 out of 10.
Yeah, pretty much. Maxine Dupree has 180 that team. No one cared. They were jobbing out. They were sort of like these low-level heels, and now Chad Gable is beating Gunther by count out in a match.
This is insane.
Yeah, but it's awesome. But I think you're now going to see main event Jey Uso take the Intercontinental belt off him after his run.
Right.
After he gets that record.
Yeah, that'll be this week, right?
Yeah.
Is that tomorrow?
It's tomorrow.
Yeah, so he's gonna retain and beat the record for sure. Okay, and then the NXT stuff we can kind of skip by. Tiffany and Kiana we can talk a little bit about later. Blair Davenport, that's nothing. We could talk about. I like the JC Jane stuff. I thought that was hilarious.
Oh yeah, like having this whole like Mean Girls thing or whatever the hell they're doing is genius. I want to see Thea Hale now be a mean girl and move away because I think she's just going to be hilarious doing it. She's
too cute though. She doesn't like JC Jane looks good as a like I like JC Jane. I actually think JC Jane is low key very funny.
Yeah,
she's really like Tiffany Stratton is funny, but almost to where like she's acting. Like I suspect that people might think, is this really her? I don't know, because Tiffany Stratton, she was like one of these bodybuilder kind of women, right? And it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So she's not just like, I'm this dumb blonde. Obviously, like she's working out. This is a very difficult thing to do. But JC Jane looks like she's having a lot of fun being this role. And I don't think that's her at all in real life. So I think that she's just like, I'm having fun with this and be like, oh yeah, I'm this big, I don't like the rules and all that. I'm like, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
And then Thea Hale's like this little cute, like, okay, I'm gonna skip school. It's like, okay, I don't know. It's just, and Duke is funny too, and
Duke is hilarious.
and Andre
It's like,
Chase, he's just like, wait, what's happening? She's skipping school.
I love too the exchange where it's like, you're Australian? I didn't know. It's like,
and like, I love that he had to start taking notes. He's like, so we've got that match coming up. He's like, what?
yeah,
I've got to do something. He's like, wait, what are the notes again? Firstly, it's 2 points or 1 point. Do you need to write notes for this? You certainly don't need to write any notes for this thing. I don't got. But that was all great. All right, so let's get into Payback. Payback 2023. So we had Trish and Bex in a battle. We had so just a couple of notes and we'll talk about it. So there's a couple of good off the top ropes. When Trish's legs got stuck in that thing, I always hate that. That always makes me nervous. Superplex off the top rope was nice. The using Trish Stratus as a tug of war rope that was pretty funny. We had the manhandle slam, of course. We had Zoe came in, whatever. Manhandle slam off the top rope. That was pretty fun. Becky wins. Zoe turns face.
Based
Yes.
on the reaction of the commentators, Zoe turns face.
Right, but not. So at first, so it was funny too because you could see I actually have some scribbles.
Yeah.
So I started to write. I'm like, I guess Zoe's. I guess is Trish gonna be a face now? And they're like, and then the comment, and then thingy is like, oh yeah, it's like, oh, she did so much for her and all. I'm like, oh, sorry, she's a face now. I'm like, I don't think the crowd got that memo because the crowd is still like, what the hell? So I guess we're gonna have to find that out on the next TV
on Raw.
We'll have to find that out tomorrow because I have no idea what the hell's going on. So what did you think of that match then? And so that's just the points, and then I'll just say the points that I have, and then we can go more in detail. So what did you think of that?
This was a fantastic match. Both women. You got to remember, Trish Stratus is 48 years old.
Shit. I think she did really. Man, I am nervous. I'm not nervous for Becky because I know Becky's got this. But I was nervous for Trish because I was, you don't really need to do all this. Like, you are awesome. It is a thank you, Trish, because she did do a lot. So I don't know, but I was a bit. When her legs got tangled up, I was like, "F this, man." I'm like, "Come on!" And then she flipped backwards. I was like, "Oh."
No, I'm not a fan of that at all. She took a hell of a lot of whacks to the head. She had huge welts on her head at the end.
I know. I saw that.
But just to see her, like when she was in that Stratisfaction and she got caught. Yeah. Trish Stratus.
I agree with this.
I'm sitting there watching this. I'm like, in all honesty, Trish Stratus is my favorite female wrestler of all time. She is.
Yeah, she's got to be there. Yeah.
I mean, she is my favorite. I loved her pretty much since she came in. I didn't think she would wrestle, and then she proved me wrong. And then she went away and she came back. I'm like, oh God, here's this fossil coming back. And she literally used core strength to flip up and meet Becky. Like, it was crazy. I didn't feel like Becky was in the ring with a 48-year-old woman. I felt like she was in the ring with an equal. And that is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Trish really solidified to me that she is probably the best of all time in this match. Becky Lynch is up there too. Like, she's top 3 probably. It's it's impossible. This match, I thought it would be all right. It was far better than all right.
Way better.
They went back and forth. There was a lot of near misses. I don't know. Like, both women. Like, I'm glad if they didn't have this on SummerSlam, and this is the reason why to give us this match, then I'm fine with that because this match was. I agree with Michael Cole, contender for match of the year. It was. I was into it.
It was very shocking.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I thought it might be good, But man, Trish is pretty damn good. Like, wow,
Yeah.
it is one of the that's probably the best Trish match that I've seen.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I might purchase this just as an archival.
Yeah.
They still come these. I don't know, and Joe, you can let us know. These still come out. We still get these to purchase in Canada.
Yeah.
I heard that they're not selling all these in different regions,
Australia.
but in Canada we still get them all these pay-per-views. So yeah, what was Joe saying just now? So now Becky,
yeah,
NXT Tuesday. Oh yeah, I mean, how awesome is that going to be?
Well,
that entire exchange was great, which I guess we can talk about it now. It involves Becky. No, but yeah, that entire match was good. Well, let's talk about the Zoe thing first. So Zoe came the tug of war. The tug of war with Trish. I was like, this is outrageous. It actually, I was pretty nervous the entire match.
Yeah, me too.
So this took a little bit of the load off. I was like, okay, this is pretty funny. Them like, no, you're coming. No. I'm like, what the hell's happening?
No, that was genius. Having Trish as the rope in the tug of war was great.
Yeah.
But the Zoe thing, I knew this was going to happen. I personally thought it would have to be the crowd hasn't warmed up to Zoe at all. Trish, I honestly, there's some people, and we'll talk about it later, some people, the fans do not want to boo. And right. Trish Stratus is one of those people. The crowd doesn't want to boo her. They don't want to boo Trish Stratus.
Yeah,
you saw that when she went to Quebec. She came out. People were, thank you, Trish. They were actually chanting it.
Yep.
They love her. And then she had to do the heel thing and insult them and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I saw that. And then she had to go to the cheap.
Yeah, she had to do the cheap. I don't care what people say. But I thought this would be a natural thing to just turn her face at this point. Doesn't seem like they're going to do that. And now I'm wondering, because Zoe hasn't demonstrated what her character is at this point.
Right.
So having her as a face, I'm afraid there's going to be a lot of crickets when she comes out. I think people are going to be cheering Trish over her, even though she's supposed to be the face.
I was thinking that as well. I thought, I don't know if you're playing this right to the crowd because they might not go for it. No way. No. Becky wins everything against anyone. That's how it goes. She's the brand. I was gonna wear Becky today, but I forgot that because I hadn't worn this shirt ever. This is the first time I'm wearing this shirt, and I bought it for our games days when we do D&D and stuff. But then we haven't done one of those in forever, so I'm like, whatever. So I was like, let me wear this. And I thought I should have worn the Becky shirt because that's the brand. I should just make this entire background Becky and then just go from there. But anyway, I mean, and then Tiffany Stratton came out. It's like, oh, I apologize that I mentioned that you were one of the champions, but you weren't. So sorry.
Yeah.
And Becky's just like, oh, I'm glad you got out of your Mattel box to come over here. Yeah, thanks for showing up. But that actually was fun. I like when it's a real thing and they make it funny.
Yeah.
It's like, I gotta be better than Becky Lynch. Oh, wait, she never won. Sorry, never mind. Oh, man, that is great.
Tiffany Stratton, they're like, oh, she's here because she doesn't have any competition in NXT, so she's just seeing what's on the main roster. I'm kind of like, I kind of agree with her. Who's her competition in NXT?
Yeah, I don't know.
No one.
Yeah,
no one's taking that belt off her. Nope.
Not even close.
Nope.
No one's even remote. I like Kiana.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Fallon in a while, I feel.
She was she showed up very briefly.
Oh, in that behind the scenes guy who can't film. Yeah, NXT Anonymous.
I'm like, I like her ass, but show me the front. Nope.
I mean that like Fallon is just something else. Like, oh my god.
She's they don't show those cowboy boys from the waist down for a reason.
Someone's gonna hang their coat on there. All right, so we had John Cena and Miz and all that talk. So we had LA Knight versus the Miz. Okay, the Miz is really good at putting these kind of people over.
Yeah.
He might be the best out of anybody, because when he did that LA Knight making fun of him, and right, like that entire thing was hilarious. And then LA Knight comes like, it's like, you're not even the star of your own thing. Your wife was the star. and like, but like, Miz is so good because he's so pesky.
Yeah.
And no matter who he's against, you're like, you know what? I want this guy to just get beat up.
Yeah.
But the problem is that I'm at the point where I'm like, I see what you're doing, and now I like you. So I kind of like, but LA Knight, man, he is awesome. I like that guy. He's just a cool guy. He feels like he's just like a regular guy. He does feel, they keep saying he's like an Attitude Era guy. Well, he's an Attitude Era guy in the way that he felt like this is just kind of who he is, and it's not really too much of him trying to be like this kooky character and play up something. It's just like, that's just the guy that he is. Like, he's just walking around like, oh, there's LA Knight. How's it going? So just a couple of points. Cena was the ref. We had blunt force trauma. LA Knight wins. I thought Cena was cool. Like, he did all of the face ref stuff where, the guy was holding the rope and he knocked it out and said, oh no, don't do that. And even when LA Knight would do something, he'd be like, no, stop, So he called it, down the line, or how would they say it? But I like John Cena. He's definitely earned his legendary status. He does come back and he is funny. So what did you think? I know LA Knight was kind of your guy from before.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, John Cena is now given 650 Make-A-Wishes, which is the all-time record.
Yeah, what was it? They said it. I forgot what that.
650.
Wow.
650.
Wow, that's crazy.
Cena coming out, like, Cena is he just puts a smile on my face. I never was the Cena sucks guy. I always like Cena. I don't care. Like, people can tell me this, that, and everything, 5 moves of doom and all that. I don't care. Roman Reigns has the 3 moves of doom right now, so I literally don't care. I really think, and I'll talk a little bit about this later, but Cena was the guy of his generation, right? Cena was the guy who took up the mantle, rightly or wrongly, pretty much from Stone Cold. I don't really count The Rock, because Rock was there like 5 years. So yeah, I really enjoyed seeing Cena there. I liked his whole thing with the Miz, where he's like, no, give me advice. Like, I'm serious, man. Give me some advice.
Right.
Miz started to like warm up. Like, all right, well, you could do this and that and blah blah. I think that they have great chemistry together, Miz and Cena. The one thing about Miz, and I do agree with you, he's the right guy to have. But there's one problem with this match. Miz is the sort of guy you bring in to get the other guy over a bit.
Right.
Over. You don't need to give him the Miz.
Right.
Now, LA Knight now needs to go after gold.
Right.
And I'm going to explain why they sort of screwed up with a later match, because they had it lined up perfectly and they didn't do it. But in this case, it was an okay match. It didn't do anything for me. I liked having John Cena there. At least he wasn't like the ref in the Becky Trish match, who screwed up a couple of times, because you saw him go 1-2 and then he stopped. Like, he literally stopped his hand
to get
what happened.
Right.
And by the way, here's another thing on Trish. Trish, to show you what a pro she is, a lot of wrestlers watch the ref when they count to know when to kick out. If you watch Trish, her eyes were closed, so she was doing it off sound to make it look more real. I
didn't catch that.
Can do something like that, because I now watch them watch the ref.
Right.
They look at the ref. She didn't. I watched her. She did not look at the referee. Becky's also very good at doing that. She does not look at the referee. Generally. But anyhow, I thought John Cena was actually better than the ref in the first how he counted and all that.
Right.
It was an okay match. It didn't do anything for me because it meant nothing. Like the Miz has solidified himself in the mid card. He's earned respect because everyone knows his story. Came in from a reality show. He's been there 20 years. He's done it all. He's been in Marine.
Right.
He doesn't need to give you his resume. He lives his resume.
Right.
LA Knight is on the way up. LA Knight is the guy we're waiting to challenge for Roman Reigns' belt or whatever the hell he's going to
right.
go. He doesn't need this match. Miz didn't really need this match either because the Miz doesn't need to put LA Knight over. LA Knight's over. So it was there. It was something to get LA Knight on the card, and it was something to remind us all of how great the Miz is. Okay.
It wasn't too long, but it wasn't too long, and I don't feel that it dragged.
No, it didn't drag.
I agree with you. It's just there to be there, but I liked it, and it didn't drag. So I'm like, I don't know if it was just like, let's fill out some time. Because like they had that Grayson Waller thing.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
We got to that, which I would have been like, well, why is there a segment? I mean, I know they do that on some pay-per-views, but like, I almost wish could you have made, one of the matches maybe a little longer or something, but whatever. This one, it came in, they did their thing. You're right. I didn't think of it that way. It's like, yeah, we don't need to put LA Knight over. He already is over. So whatever. But it was just something for him to do.
Yeah. No, it was a reason for him to be there. And, I loved his tribute to Bray Wyatt at SmackDown. And I loved how he said, and I went back and I rewatched it, how he brought the camera in. And he's like, as a wise man once told me, Miz, when you see me coming, and then he did the run, which is what Bray Wyatt did. And I'm like, oh, man,
that's cool.
I almost wish he had done Sister Abigail during that match, just as a tribute, but I know why he didn't. Yeah. I mean, it was fine. You need to get LA Knight on every pay-per-view now. Yeah. Miz is a Swiss Army knife. You can put him in any situation. And he said it, hosting, there you go. Hosting, wrestling, managing, refereeing, commentating, whatever you do, the man will excel because he's good at everything. There's nothing he's bad at, ever. So it's a safe match to put him in. You got LA Knight, people are cheering. The Miz is usually booed. He's been a face a couple times, but he's better as a heel.
He's better as a heel for sure.
It was fine. You have Cena there. It adds a little bit more. Sure.
I forgot. We didn't talk about this. I don't remember when this happened, but like this was the greatest thing ever. I'm like in disbelief of what was going on. I'm like, what is happening?
Becky.
There's a lemon shirt for Becky. Like, this is the dumbest thing, but like, it's so awesome.
Becky Lynch makes the best use of props of anyone in WWE, especially food props. Remember when she came out with the big bag of popcorn? It was like ludicrous.
I love popcorn. I love lemonade. So I'm with you.
Oh man, awesome.
I mean, I was just like, this needs to be my wallpaper. This is outrageous. Like Becky Lynch having lemonade at the big. She's the best, man. All right, then we had Rey Mysterio versus Austin Theory. Rey Mysterio won. So this match wasn't too long either. I don't think this match was very long either. I felt. Is it just that Rey can Rey do a full match these days or not really?
I just don't think they cared. I just don't think they cared. And to be honest with you, I don't think anyone cared. And it's a shame because Rey Mysterio is a Hall of Famer. He is good. I was once a big proponent of give this guy the belt because he is so athletic, and he's still athletic. He still does friggin' crazy moves. But this match was an obvious showcase. Austin Theory showed you his unique blend of athleticism and strength, which is just unbelievable. The way he was
he's awesome.
manhandling Rey Mysterio, it was clear he should have won. Having Rey Mysterio,
I was surprised.
Yeah, with the amount of guys you got coming up, especially faces who you can put this belt on, giving it to Rey Mysterio, I actually think Santos Escobar should have got the belt if you were going to give it to any of those guys, because Santos Escobar is genius. I wish they went back to Legado del Fantasma. Yeah, I agree.
I agree with this Double C
match. It was very short.
Like, I don't think it's garbage or anything.
I think it's garbage, but awesome.
But it's just like, what is if this is a pay-per-view, what am I?
What are we doing?
Who cares?
Like, why is this here? Like, it's almost like we need X number of belts.
Yeah.
Defended.
And Roman doesn't feel like doing anything this time around.
Roman doesn't have belts. Instead, he shows up. He doesn't. Apparently, there is no belt for SmackDown, except when Roman shows up with 48 belts on Paul Heyman. But otherwise, there's no.
Yeah, the Paul Heyman figure comes with every belt.
Yeah, it's like.
And like if you buy Roman Reigns' action figure, he comes with nothing.
He doesn't even show up. The
package, it's empty. It's an empty package.
Yeah, Roman Reigns, and it's one of those things where you have to mail away for it, and then it comes like 8 months later.
Right, he's a mail away.
Yeah, he's a mail away, and it's a long mail away,
and it takes forever. Yeah, it ships in 3 to 4 months or whatever. Like, what a joke, man!
I know, it's ridiculous.
And the problem is that it just brings everything out, which we'll get to the Jey Uso stuff and all that. But it's like I was more excited with Becky Lynch making lemonade.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's like who cares? I do like, so I know for anyone watching this later, and for Joe and C in the chat here. So I'm into the luchador films and all that. So I just been like, I got that Santo pack. So I've been going through those. I've seen 3 of them. I've seen 4 of the 8. 2 of them I had seen before, but I rewatched them, and I'm getting somewhat like okay views on it. So I may or may not do more of those reviews, but I love the luchadors. Like I've been watching on and off AAA, CMLL. Especially AAA, because they're doing Triple Mania right now, and it's all free on YouTube. It's like 2 or 3 hours free, and like every damn thing is super exciting. Like I don't know who any of the characters are. They just all look cool because they're all in the mask. So Santos, like when Santos Escobar came out and they had the masks and everything, I was like, oh hell yes. Then they lost, and I thought, ooh, that brought them down. But then they formed that group, the Phantasma, whatever, and I thought, yeah, I was like, ooh, I like this.
I really,
I like these guys. This is pretty cool. And then it's the Latino World Order, which I don't care about, because I don't like anything that's a something world order except for the New World Order, because they're just ripping that off. And then actually, it was funny too, because now you go on there, and there's NWO black and white, and then there's red and black, right? Because there's the Wolfpack NWO. Now you got LWO with the green, like the Mexican flag. Then you got LWO, and Ray had the blue L, and it's like, okay, so wait, what is this then? I don't like. Is it going to be every country that has any remote, connection? It's like, so I just like, look, just be that faction, and that's it. And what I would have done is I would have got a couple of more luchador guys. There's so many of them out there. Grab a couple of these guys, make it a mega faction, like make it like 5 or 6 guys. And then Santos Escobar can be the head of that. And I'd like to see that as a newer bloodline. To me, that is way more interesting as a replacement of the bloodline than, where's Jay going this week? What program is he on? I couldn't care less, to be honest. To me, this is just dead. This Roman Reigns thing has literally run its course. It's over. It needs to go away.
So. In respect to the LWO, that started up in WCW. to defend all the
Right.
the Hispanic wrestlers from the NWO. They band together, and that was formed by Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah.
When Eddie Guerrero passed away, the LWO should have passed away with him.
That's over.
It's because there's no. Who are you fighting? You're just a faction. You're just a friendship. Friendship.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing there. I don't care about the LWO. I was far more interested in the Legado de Fantasma than I am this LWO. And they're not a world order of anything. It's just four guys and one girl wandering around. Like it doesn't do anything.
Right.
It's just I was hoping Ray would lose, and then the other three would kick the shit out of him after the match, and then it would go back to being Legado del Fantasma. And these like criminal guys walking around well dressed, cigars and all that, and Zelina Vega is showing up all sexy and all that. I like that. I'm like, why is this not? Why did you turf that? That doesn't. Well, I like Rey Mysterio. Listen, everyone likes Rey Mysterio.
For sure.
But Rey Mysterio is on the way out. You guys are on the way in.
And like, dude, long term, like, okay. Long term, you have them beat up Rey Mysterio. Now he's fighting that faction. And down the line, that's where you can bring in, there's a few NXT guys that can come in. Dragon can join up with Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
Right? To fight that faction. Then you can get a lady, right? In there for Zelina. You can get, and then it can come down to where does Dominic go? And that's when Dominic turns back to face to save his, like, there needs to be better planning.
Yeah.
Santos Escobar, like that. Yeah, you're right. That faction, it was super pumped. And like Zelina was awesome. It's like, oh man, yeah. Like this goofy hairstyle that she has all the time. It's like, I don't understand. Just have your normal hair. Like, I don't like, it's like, today we're in this country, so it's, I'm in Poland, so I'm going to have their flag colors. Like, what? Like, who cares? This is so random. It's like, I don't like any of that stuff. I don't like that flip-flop thing. I don't like any of this. I don't care. It's like, be a character, be that villain.
Yeah.
They were awesome.
They were awesome.
They could, I'm telling you, get a couple more masked guys, a couple of big, huge mask guys. And like they can be like the enforcer guy, so they got tag team. Well, now the Judgment Day rules it all, but you've got your two enforcer guys. You have Santos Escobar, who would be like the Roman Reigns of the thing. I just don't know like what the hell they're doing with these guys. They're super uninteresting as the LWO. And right, that was Eddie Guerrero's thing. Why is this happening? I don't want this. Eddie Guerrero is awesome.
Eddie Guerrero.
Everyone likes Eddie Guerrero.
He's gold. Everything Eddie Guerrero ever touched,
he's awesome. Right. Everyone likes him.
Yeah. He is one of the best. He is one of the best, and his legacy, you still see people do the shaking and the three amigos and all
yeah.
Like,
so
yeah, I don't think we need this. I don't think it does anything. The only person that does anything for is really Rey Mysterio. And even him, I don't think you need it for him. And it's just not needed. Give it back to Austin Theory and let LA Knight versus Austin Theory for the U.S. Championship.
Yeah, do that then.
You need to give LA Knight gold. Do something. Giving it to Rey Mysterio doesn't help that belt out, doesn't help that mid card out, doesn't help anything out. Like, I don't get it. It was
a good time for them to beat up Rey Mysterio and start that whole thing up.
Mm-hmm.
Austin Theory beats him, and then they start beating him up, saying, "You're an old man. Like, why are you even in this thing? It's like you're not one of us." Blah blah blah. And then just lose the LWO thing completely, and you just focus on those guys, that faction, and then you have Rey Mysterio fighting them for a bit, and that gives him something to do. He can bring in a couple of other luchador guys to come help him out, and have the mask guys. I'm telling you, You watch that. AAA is a little bit better than CMLL. They give you like a lot of it's free. To watch the other federation, you have to pay. It's on a paywall. So you can't watch as much, but like Triple Mania is on right now. I don't know what day they're on. I can't remember, but it's like 2 or 3 hour match, and like they're awesome. There's so many guys you can get. Anybody like geez, like there's so many guys you can get. And I like all of that stuff too. And I mean, I've got my I've got my Blue Demon mask. There it is. You see it right next to Becky's the Becky's plaque. So like, I love all that stuff. It's really cool to me. The masked luchadors are awesome. I legitimately love Nacho Libre, even though it's being kind of jokey. I actually took it as a serious, like I take it as a serious movie that I like. Like, I don't know. To me, he was like a hero. Yeah. So anyways, they got to do something better. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Of course, we had all this interference as usual, but they're the new champs. Yep. So what do you think of that? That was pretty crazy.
You know, I was sitting there and I'm like, I want Owens and Zayn to win. It's not because they're both Canadian and I'm biased. It's because I think Owens and Zayn need the belts more than the other two. I don't think giving the belts to Balor and I don't like Judgment Day. So Monday Night Raw is now Monday Night Judgment Day.
Right.
They basically open up the night and they close out the night. They are the top heels in the WWE.
I don't think anyone anticipated Rhea becoming so popular and Dominic becoming so hated. I don't think they anticipated it. I think they thought, this will be a good angle for him. He'll be against his dad and he'll get some booze. And all of a sudden people have super mega hatred.
Yeah.
And I don't think they anticipate. And then Rhea Ripley, they're just like, she's on fire. Like everyone's dying over her. It's like, I don't think they really were able to call that because it feels like they were splitting them up.
Yeah.
And then they're like, damn, we got to milk this sucker a bit more.
Yeah,
like it's just like,
I mean, from a kayfabe standpoint, how does Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn not come out with like 5 people with them? Like this,
they're so dumb.
This needs to be addressed at some point because Rhea Ripley came charging out and speared Kevin Owens through a barrier. Like, eventually, you're going to have to go to China, and she wore China's gear. You're going to have to go to China route, and you're going to have guys attack her and do moves on her. This is it's becoming NWO territory where I knew the Judgment Day was going to win. Because I saw Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn come out. I'm like, well, either they split up the Judgment Day here and now, which I didn't think they would, or they're going to win because there's going to be 17 people come out for them. JD McDonough come out. Yeah. I'm like, yep. Dominic came out. I'm like, yep. Rhea came out. I'm like, yep. Everyone's coming out. Why are Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn here without backup? That's my question. This match was insane. Them wearing the Pittsburgh. But I love, when did Kevin Owens get busted open? He seemed to be fine. I'm like, did Sami Zayn hit him with a steel chair while they were getting dressed? Like, what happened?
I don't understand. Okay, there's people that get randomly beat up and they're bleeding. I'm like, what the hell happened?
I was so stunned. He's popped back up and he's literally gushing blood. And I'm like, did a fan hit him? What happened?
I'm going to say something that's super random, and I don't know if the chat or people watching this later are going to get this, but Steven and I both used to watch the Survivor, the television show Survivor. I actually still watch Survivor. I've never missed an episode in 40 something seasons. It's the only reality show besides Forged in Fire, if you count Forged in Fire a reality show. But I love Forged in Fire. I've seen every episode of that and have every episode. I've been saving those. But Survivor, there was one. I think it was Survivor. Where they go into this cave or whatever.
Race.
It was it was Amazing Race. Sorry, not Survivor. But I also watch Amazing Race. Yes, I still watch Amazing Race. And yeah, they go in and this woman goes into this cave. They come out and she's busted open. Well, it was like, what the hell was? For some reason I thought it was Survivor, but yeah, no, it was Amazing Race. That's right. My wife really likes Amazing Race, so I watched that with her. And we're watching that. It's like she's all busted open, like, what the hell happened? Or someone chair shot her.
She just, because they didn't follow her, and she just walked in and she came out. I'm like, is there a guy hiding behind the entrance of the steel cage? Yeah, Kevin Owens. You could see he wasn't sure about that move before he did it, because he actually used a fan to get up on the railing. I don't know if you noticed that. He actually boosted himself up off a fan.
Oh shit! Okay, yeah.
Looked, and you could see he was kind of calculating in his head, like, "Can I do this?
Can this be?"
He missed a freaking swanton. He barely hit Dominic. He actually jumped over Dominic with his swanton.
Yeah, I thought that was weird, and it was just okay. So I didn't realize. So you almost, oh wow, that's crazy.
He hit his arm on the way down. He did hit him, but you could tell he missed his mark completely. You're supposed to go middle.
Right.
And you're actually supposed to almost, like, not middle, but you're supposed to be a little bit past middle so you actually bounce off. He smashed his head into Dominic Mysterio's midsection, and I'm like, Kevin Owens just broke his neck. I'm like, why? That was crazy. That was my reaction. I was like, no. There were some wild and wicked, like, bumps in this thing. Finn went through a table. I thought the pop-up bomb on JD McDonough was really good, but unfortunately, I guess the table was reinforced steel this thing, because he just bounced off it and then landed on the.
Yeah, sometimes anytime they get objects in, it's always, you don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
There's been things where it's like, this table won't break. They're like, okay, slam him again. He won't break. It's like, did we rig this properly? Like,
yeah, like, did we put adamantium in instead of what we were supposed to? Like, it's just weird. And the Judgment Day winning, it's not just going to be another prolonged breakup. Like, WWE prolongs these storylines for months on end. Damian Priest is obviously going to turn eventually, or Finn and JD McDonough are going to beat up Damian, and then Dominic and Rhea will have to decide where they land, and they're probably going to land separately because Rhea needs to turn face based on the reaction she's getting, and Dominic needs to remain heel based on the reaction he's getting. But so you give them the tag titles and they have all the gold. I'm like, right. But again, this is just another thing where it's just prolonging the agony. Like, if you're going to break them up, break them up. These teases, we'll break up. No, we won't break. Just break them up.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was going to happen. It didn't. So I'm like, I don't know if Sammy and Kevin need the belts. I guess I don't know. If you're going for the Judgment, like, the problem, okay, this is weird. This is what Judgment Day should have been from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird that it was towards the end of what looked like, okay, the Judgment Day, it's run its course. Edge is gone. This whole thing is just kind of over now. He fought them and they're done. They're going to split up and that's it. It's like, wait a minute, everyone loves Rhea and everyone despises Dominic. Let's keep this going. It's like, oh, we're still going. Oh, okay, we're still going. All right, we're still Judgment Day. We're still. And then it's like, you're going to win the tag belts. It's like, no, it's like Rhea's the champion now. Cool, yeah, Judgment Day, yeah. And it's like, Dominic's a champion. Awesome. You're the Money in the Bank winner. Yeah. It's like, now you're the tag champions. It's like, we're back. Like, what happened? Like, I thought this is, it's like John Wick. It's like, are you back? Yeah. I'm guessing I'm back.
Yeah. It's just, and then they're like, we have all the gold. I'm like, so in your world, the world championship doesn't exist.
Well, what how it is. Listen, Dominic is the champion of all of North America, so he's better than.
But Seth Rollins is world champion.
Sorry, he's world champion. That's right.
But
what's his name? but Damian Priest can cash that in.
He can, and
I like that he's
cashed in and lost. So I'm mystified. I don't know. Like, this was a weird choice. I would have preferred to give it to someone like Indershire or one of those up and coming tag teams. Giving it to a Judgment Day, to your point, is like, okay, they've been around forever. Now you give them the belts.
Just pretend they restarted. Basically, when Dominic Mysterio joined, that was a reboot of that was Judgment Day version 2 or 2.0 or whatever, because like the Edge one was just like not going anywhere. The problem is that they started off boring. Yeah. They're better now because Rhea Ripley's awesome and Dominic's super hated. So it's like they're way better now than they were before, but it felt like they ran out of steam because I just didn't care about them. And it's like, but now I care about them because I like Rhea and I like Dom. So now by default, they're better. We'll see what happens with them. At least now they are a faction. You're like, well, shit, yeah, they're somebody to, contend with, I suppose.
Yeah.
We had Rhea versus Raquel. Here's another one of these. Rhea's nose is like bleeding, like vertically, like what the hell is that? A nose piercing? Yeah, and it's like, okay, look, I've got piercings. You can remove, they don't close up that fast. You can remove your piercing and still put it back in. The whole of your piercing doesn't immediately, if you leave your earring out a long enough time, your hole will close up. It's not going to close up in a half an hour or 20-minute match. Yeah. Like, take your piercings out. It's gross. If it like, remember in that Punisher film where the guy had all of the piercings?
Yeah.
And they were saying, and they're actually, like they're pulling them out.
Yeah.
And it hurts. When I first got my first earring, I wasn't used to it, and I was taking my shirt off, and it got caught in the shirt, and it pulled out the thing, and it hadn't fully healed. You're like, oh, I was like, that hurt more than the actual piercing. The piercing didn't hurt at all. And I was like, oh, damn. And then ever since I did that, my first piercing, I was like, no. So anyways, and Rhea something always falls out of her.
Yeah.
Like you always see her, she's got one of those loop things where you put your finger in the earlobe. Like it's like that whole circle. I don't like those personally, but whatever. That falls out every time. So it's like, did her nose get cut or something? It's like, so there's that. So Dominic got slammed. Of course, he came in to get slammed. There's Riptide. Rhea won. I was pretty sure Rhea was going to win. Yeah. I kind of feel like this should have been better built up. I don't know. Like it's. I feel like it's like Raquel was the one who was physically capable of kind of doing something. But I think was it too soon for those two to go at it?
No, I think that this was just a reaction to not giving Rhea anyone to wrestle for so long. The problem is that Rhea, the Judgment Day themselves are hated, but Rhea Ripley is loved.
Right.
Raquel Rodriguez is liked, but she's not loved.
Right.
Right. So Rhea Ripley had all the steam in this match.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they did some really good stuff, like playing up the Raquel's power and all that. I noticed Corey Graves screwed up and called her Gonzalez at one point instead of Rodriguez. Was not corrected. But I really didn't feel like this match had any sort of stakes to it. I don't think anyone thought Raquel would go over Rhea. And it's a shame because I do agree that Raquel is the one who could give her a legitimate physical challenge. But I don't think that this played off well. And they still tried to do stuff with the knee injury. Mm-hmm. And I think there's only two ways you can go after this. I don't think you feed her Raquel again. You either feed her Liv when Liv comes back and Liv has completely lost her mind and she's doing the crazy shit off the tables and shit again.
Right.
Or, more likely, you give her big Becky Lynch. Because Becky Lynch cannot take her physically. But if there's one person in the WWE Women's Division who the fans will be behind more than Rhea Ripley, it is Becky Lynch. Yeah. And the only person who's going to take that title off of Rhea Ripley is someone who's more popular than her.
Yeah, Rhea's like super popular, and yeah, that's really the only. Yeah, it's not. It's like physically she can beat anybody. So the next step is you have to go by who do they like more?
Yeah.
And yeah, you have to make her like not like like people like Raquel, but they don't love Raquel. Where it's like wow, like she's so great. Same with Zelina. It's like Zelina, oh yeah, we like her. She's cool. Like that's it. Nobody really cares that much. It's like people like Liv, but know that she's not going to really win. Yeah, Becky Lynch is the only one realistically who could kind of beat her.
Or Bianca.
And they had like Charlotte versus Rhea was still a really awesome.
It's a match of the year contender. It was genius.
Yeah, that was awesome.
But even then, Rhea had all the momentum.
Yeah, she did. Well, right. Charlotte was away. She'd gotten married. She went on her honeymoon or whatever she did. So she came back. You're like, yeah, you're just kind of back and you're not really in the story. Like it goes by what people see, right? You got to see the person. When you see them week after week after week after week, then you're like, you get to know the person. You can't just be like, oh, they're back. And then there's a big pop for them. Oh yeah, they're back. But it's like, yeah, but we haven't seen you. Like, yeah, that's the Roman Reigns problem. It's like, we don't see you anymore. Why am I supposed to care if you win now? Oh, it's the bloodline and the necklace. And it's like, well, I don't care about this necklace. I don't care about this bloodline thing. It's like, just lose.
Well, I think the problem is that the storyline was really pitting Rhea Ripley's redemption story versus Charlotte Flair's supremacy. Right. And everyone is always going to cheer for the underdog. I think Rhea Ripley got a lot of fans when she went out there and did that. And I think the problem is that you're not having Rhea wrestle women. You're having her wrestle men. Women are at a natural disadvantage. So when she's beating up men, people think that's cool because that's not something you see every day. It's the same when China was beating up men. They love that because that's not something you see every day. So if you really, truly were committed to Rhea Ripley being a heel, you'd have her stop attacking the men all the time and have her stop like coming out and doing stuff that it's the same thing, crowd pleasing. The crowd wants to see her beat up men, so don't do it.
Right.
Or commit to the face turn. One or the other. Like this is my problem with the WWE. They want to sort of live in this middle instead of, and it helps the one performer, but it doesn't help the rest. They don't know where they stand because they're supposed to be super popular, but they're going against this heel who is doing crowd pleasing stuff. Io Sky, same freaking thing.
Right.
WWE is almost acting like they don't know the business they're in sometimes. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. The main event: Shinsuke Nakamura versus Seth freaking Rollins for the belt.
Grayson Waller afterwards.
Oh yeah, let's talk about Grayson Waller. Sure, let's talk about Grayson Waller. I forgot where's my notes?
That was before the Raquel and
yeah. Oh yeah, sorry. Cody came out and Jey Uso. Well, what do you think about all this stuff? So I kind of tuned out for all of that because I just didn't care. And then Jey Uso was like Jey Uso. I'm like, okay, so he's going on the other brand now, or where is he going? He's going on Raw. Yeah, he's going on Raw now. So, okay.
So there's a lot of weirdness with this entire. First of all, Grayson Waller is genius. I love Grayson Waller. Him coming out and just having the tree, and he cares about the trees. Like, don't harm the trees and all that. Right. Like, I think he's genius. Him and Austin Theory are an awesome tag team. I hope they become a faction and just compliment each other all the time. Like, or themselves all the time to each other. You have to have Cody Rhodes on every pay-per-view. So I was fine with that. What I wasn't okay, and I love how he comes out and he's like, oh, is this really how we're going to do it? We're going to flip over the thing, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, okay, you want to subvert expectations. That's fine. I understand you need Cody Rhodes, but this highlighted and underlined that you should be doing something with Cody Rhodes.
Right.
does not. He should not be on the Grayson Waller show on a pay-per-view. He should be
Right.
fighting Grayson Waller on a pay-per-view. That's fine. Cody Rhodes is the new face that runs this place. Cody Rhodes will get the biggest pop of the night. LA Knight's the only one who comes close, but Cody Rhodes guaranteed gets the biggest pop of the night. People love him. He has this aura about him where he's just so good. He's transcended business. Putting him on the show is stupid. Doesn't help anyone. He comes out, he's like, I'm pulling the strings, and because I don't like what happened. Jey Uso's here. I'm like, why does Cody Rhodes give a shit about what Jey Uso's doing?
Right. He's just there because he has to be there.
Yeah, exactly. It just, from the storyline, it makes no sense. Now, here's the thing I've been missing through my constant fast forwarding of the Bloodline. And, pay-per-view is great because it makes me actually forces me to watch this stuff. He comes out and there's this mega pop. And I'm like, when did this guy become so popular? Like, they died over him. And I'm like, did I literally miss something? Because I thought I was like, I felt like texting and be like, Jey Uso is this popular? Like, just went crazy. And I'm like, okay. He super kicks Jey Uso. He's going to be on Raw. I mean, Grayson Waller's going to be on Raw. I'm like, okay. Here's the thing. To do what? What's he going to do? Jey Uso's dream match was against his brother. His brother attacked him and cost him the belt. If he is on a separate brand, he can't get revenge on his brother. What are we doing?
I have no idea.
Like, I want the Bloodline to end. I want Roman Reigns to lose the belt. I want, I'd like these things. But what is putting Jey Uso on Raw accomplishing? I don't get it. And Jimmy Uso on the last night, he's like, he's going to join the Bloodline again. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Because you've made me not care with this whole Roman Reigns wrestling every 17 years thing. I don't care. And we won't take the belt off him. They mention again, he's been champion for over 3 years. I could be champion for 30 years if I don't have to ever defend the belt.
Sure. Here's the belt.
I don't get it. I think it was a ridiculous thing to do. I get it. You need to have Cody on a pay-per-view. But this, again, underlines. Give Cody something to do. But the problem is that you can't give Cody something to do because anything other than going after championship gold and top-tier championship gold is a waste of the man's time at this point. This is why you should have had him win the belt at WrestleMania.
Yeah, we'd be in a whole different spot with a lot of these guys because we'd be, at this point, there'd be other guys challenging him.
Yeah.
And they'd be developing storylines. It just feels like Cody Rhodes just didn't go anywhere.
No.
It's and like, I'm back. And then I'm like, yeah.
He comes out and it's like Cody Rhodes. He shows up in the suit, the American Nightmare, and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, and the crown. And I'm like, all right. He's going to talk to Grayson Waller, bring Jey Uso back, and then go to the back. I'm like, is this what we got Cody Rhodes back from AEW to do? This was the grand plan. This is not quite like the whole, Aqua Teen Hunger Force where I brought you into creation to drive this rocket into that wall. But that was genius. This is just stupid.
There's another movie that came out.
I gotta tell you, the ridiculous reason I brought you to life was to drive this rocket into that wall.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force is great.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's so random. I do like random humor.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. All right. Well, let's talk about Seth freaking Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura, who people don't want to boo either, I guess.
I don't want to boo him.
It's like
Shinsuke Nakamura is awesome.
He is awesome.
Shinsuke Nakamura. Like, as soon as he first appeared, I'm like, who is, and I actually went back and I watched some of his stuff and I'm like, this guy is genius.
He is
this
awesome.
Guy needs to be given every belt right now.
So my wife loves Japan. She reads manga, watches anime, all that stuff. So she's like, I only like the Japanese people. So Shinsuke, she likes Shinsuke. She's like, is he gonna win this? I was like, no, he's not gonna win this. Because like she's like, you know how you always know who's gonna win. I'm like, not always, but I'm pretty, somewhat good. She's like, is he gonna win this? I was like, no, he won't win this. She's like, oh, then this sucks. This match sucks. Like it hasn't started yet.
Match didn't suck. I thought there was some good stuff. But the one thing I find curious is Seth Rollins has been walking around with his back injury for 4 years. And he never really let off that his back was injured until Shinsuke Nakamura mentioned it was injured. And then every bump he took in this main event, he was like, my back. I'm like,
yeah, okay, so I don't know anything about this back thing.
He's got 2 fractures in his spine.
Right. So I didn't know any about these. So Shinsuke's like, I know about your back. And I'm like, ooh, what's going on here? And then it's like, it's like, well, it seems like it's been fine. Like every match I've seen. Like, what did you do? Do you mean his butt? Like, I don't know what it is. Like, what are you talking about? And it's like, oh, my back's been destroyed and all this. I'm like, okay, is this kayfabe or I don't understand? Because it's like all of a sudden it's like, well, if this back thing is a known thing and it's a real thing, why didn't every single person ever, in kayfabe?
Why has it taken 4 years to come out? Because I'm going to let you know, if I fracture a couple of spots in my lower back, my lumbar, my spine, I'm not going to wait 4 years to mention it to someone. I'm probably going to mention it sooner rather than later.
Yeah. By the way, remember 4 years ago when I was in the hospital? That's why it's like,
yeah, just especially when I'm in a profession where I abuse my back every time I work.
Yeah, like I can't even sit in this chair for more than 2 hours in my back.
But I mean, this was a good match. I enjoy seeing these two guys work. They're two of the best at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't believe that every time. And I love. So I don't know if you noticed this. Becky called an audible during her match too. I heard her tell Trish. She's like, she hit Trish and then she said, "Now you do me." Basically, when they were trading.
Oh shit! I didn't get it. No, I didn't hear it.
I heard her say this. But I love Seth Rollins' speech to Shinsuke in the middle of their match, which I love how Rollins gives a speech during a match. He always seems to do this.
And you think you're gonna bring my family in?
Yeah, he's like, you keep mentioning my family. My wife worries. Why are you making my wife worry? I'm like, why is there this whole?
Why is this happening right now?
Shinsuke is like basically collecting his balls now that you kicked, and now you're like asking him like, my wife worries about me. She shouldn't have to. I'm like, what is happening? But this is why I actually do like Seth Rollins. I hate the crowd for constantly singing his song because it's stupid. Yeah. But I do actually legit like Seth Rollins. And I like Seth Rollins since The Shield when I first saw him. I didn't see him in NXT. So when he debuted in The Shield, I have liked Seth Rollins ever since. But this was just weird. Like his back was 99% more vulnerable than in any other time in the last 4 years, it seemed. It was just a weird match, and it led to Seth Rollins winning. But you have to understand, because of his revelation, you're now setting him up to lose. The question is, who's he going to lose to? He's either going to lose or it's going to be, my back is too bad. I can't continue. I have to get surgery. Tournament.
Yeah, there's going to be something, because if it's a real thing and it's like really this dangerous, he says in one of the promos, they're like, "Oh, I can't, I don't know how much longer I can do this or whatever." Yeah. So someone's going to have to win the belts. I don't know who, LA Knight or maybe not. I don't know. Cody Rhodes. We'll have to see what they do.
The problem is that, and this is no disrespect to Cody Rhodes or Seth Rollins or any of these guys, the WWE has set up that championship to be the lesser of the two, because Roman Reigns has not given up the belt in 3 years. He hasn't. So that belt is always seen as above the other one because that other one just came into being this year. Roman Reigns has had this one for 3 years. Until someone knocks him off, this secondary champion is always going to be the lesser of Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's like everyone knows Roman Reigns is the real champion, and this one they just made up a belt for him.
Yeah, to actually have defended on pay-per-views.
Yeah, so guys, nobody defends the championship belt. Oh, why don't we make another one? All right, well, let's look at our poll. We have 7 votes so far. Did you enjoy Payback? The options were loved it, hated it, it was okay. So 57% said it was okay, and the other 43 said they loved it. So basically 3 loved it and 4 thought it was okay.
Yeah, I thought it was it was way better than I thought it would be.
Mm.
Did I love it? I loved certain parts of it. I think I loved the first match. For
yeah,
sure.
That was awesome.
I think of the matches I saw, I loved that. The second match was fine. The third match was the weakest of the lot. The fourth match was pretty damn good with Judgment Day, and I love.
Yeah.
I love when bodies are when there's dead people littering the
Yeah, the entire thing is just like what the hell happens, like a murder scene or something.
Yeah, I just love when there's like dead people all over the place,
I see dead people.
The Grayson Waller thing did nothing. The Raquel Rhea match was all right, and then the last match was good. It was good. So overall, I would, if I had to give us a rating out of, yeah,
it could be. Hey, Brian, what were you gonna say? What would you give it?
I would give it a B out of a B rating.
Yeah. Sounds about right. There's some cool stuff in it. I liked. I probably out of all of them, I'd watch the Trish and Becky thing again. That'd probably be it
for sure.
The other matches were still cool. I've got nothing against any of them, but I just wasn't as pumped for anything.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, the reason why I was buying all the WrestleManias, even when I wasn't watching wrestling every week like I am now, I was still buying the WrestleManias because that was always a big event, and I like to see how the storylines concluded and all of that. This one is like the storylines weren't so awesome that it mattered to me.
Yeah.
So that was the problem with that. But all right, well, I guess that'll do it. We did it a little longer today because we were talking about stuff leading up to it.
Yeah.
Quick reminder, everybody, that tomorrow is the Legion live stream. So every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern time is the Legion of Superheroes live stream. We're covering all of the appearances. Here's the next 3 that we're covering. This Thursday is the return of Transformers Thursday, which is Headmasters, the 4 issues from Marvel. And then every Friday is the Fourth World Friday, Jack Kirby's Fourth World. So join us for that, 7 p.m. Eastern time. This Wednesday, I'm not sure, but the Action Elite, it is scheduled. It might get rescheduled. We'll have to see. You think it's going to be rescheduled?
Well, here's the thing.
There's still 3 days.
There's still 3 days, but with one person not being there already who is very prominent to our discussions.
Yeah, so maybe
sick. I believe it's probably going to be moved out at least 1 week, maybe more, because that person's leaving. That person who's sick is going to be leaving the country soon.
Right. So it could be postponed for a bit. All right. Well, we'll just keep, if you're on Action Elite, we do a lot of streams on there. So those are usually Wednesday nights. So keep that in mind. Keep it, keep it in the back of your head. We are going to be doing eventually talking about the Shadow and the Phantom. So we'll see when that happens. But all right, guys, thank you so much for joining. Steve's links are in the channel. They're also in the chat. So make sure you're on his website. That's his author's webpage. So it's in the chat. But if you missed it in the chat, you can find it in the links to the description of this video and all my other videos that I do.
And we'll see you guys again for NXT No Mercy,
NXT No Mercy. Yeah, that's coming out. So we'll do that one too. All right, everybody. Until next time.
Hey friends, you've just been listening to J-Man, and he is the smartest person who ever lived. So make sure you like and subscribe.